A major development, and likely not a welcome one. If you are an Atlanta Braves fan, we bring in now Maria Martin with the latest on arguably key player who could be facing a long suspension now.
I know, normally when I come in here, it's fun.
Yeah.
So I hate to talk about something so negative. But this was stunning, I think, to everybody because Jurickson Profar, a designated hitter and an outfielder for the Atlanta Braves, we went through the same thing with him last year. This is all according to multiple reports. So just keep in mind the Atlanta Braves and Major League Baseball have not issued statements yet. Those should be coming. So what it is he allegedly has tested positive for a performance-enhancing substance, which is illegal, obviously, in Major League Baseball and all of sports. This happened last year. It was an 80-game suspension, your first offense in Major League Baseball. It's a 162-game suspension for your second offense. If, in fact, this would ever happen for a third time, I would surely hope it wouldn't, but he would be banned for life from the sport. So this is a really big deal, and it's an even bigger deal considering you mentioned it, Zach. He's a key player. After his suspension last year, he comes back to the lineup, produces for the Braves, gives them a lot of power. And even more so this year, the plan was to scoot him up in the lineup. He was going to be a big hitter for the Braves, and this is stunning. He was supposed to be a part of the World Baseball Classic for the Netherlands. His teammate Ozzy is also with him down there, Ozzy Albies. So yeah, this is very shocking, and this has big ramifications on the upcoming Brave season for sure.
And you alluded to this, Maria, but this is somebody who both the team and fans were really excited to see play a full season.
Yeah.
And now it is looking like, if as it has been reported in multiple outlets, that may not happen now.
Look, fans are frustrated, and I totally get why. And I think their excitement just came from having Jurickson be a part of the team, considering they signed him to a 3-year contract worth $42 million. Now, here's what it looks like. This year, if in fact he does get suspended and the 162 goes through, the Braves are going to free up some money. So it'll be a little bit north of $15 million. There's some luxury tax things that go into that. But that means they're going to have to hit the ground running and try to fill that hole. That also means Mike Yastrzemski, who was a free agent that they got here to come to the Braves, his role has now been increased. He's obviously an outfielder, but when it comes to his bat, you were going to rely on him a little bit more as a depth piece. That may change moving forward. So if you're Alex Anthopoulos, you're the general manager of the Braves, you were hard at work. He always is. But he is hitting the phones. He's trying to figure out where they can move because this was, as you mentioned and as we've talked about for the last couple of minutes, a very big piece that's now missing from the lineup, which this was at his own volition. Injuries happen. You can't plan for these things. Everybody knows the Braves have been hit with injuries 10 times over the last 2 years, and they're already dealing with so many guys that are hurt right now, and then add this to the mix. I can't imagine guys inside that clubhouse are very happy right now.
And how hard is it as we get ready? We're approaching opening day. It's going to be here before you know it.
Yeah.
How hard is it for a clubhouse you always hear the athletes talk about block out the noise,
Sure.
Don't focus on the distractions. Mm-hmm. But some of these distractions have gotten pretty noisy. How hard is it to stay focused for a clubhouse getting ready to start a season?
Great question. I think the first time around with Jurickson, it was just a little bit of frustration, especially because they were excited for him to come here. There was a lot of promise with Jurickson. Obviously, when you sign a player to a $42 million contract, you believe that he can contribute to the lineup and elsewhere. Now I think it's a little bit more geared towards, okay, are you serious? This is the second time in a row, and this obviously hurts the club more than anything. And these guys are professionals. They'll get through it, so it's a little bit different in that regard. They know how to push through things. As you mentioned, they're very good at blocking out the noise. But when it's somebody that intentionally does something, if this in fact goes through and it is proven that the performance-enhancing drug was taken, then if it's someone willingly doing something like that, I think players are very, very against these things. I mean, there's been a lot of professional players, former and current, speaking on social media saying this is a bad look for the game. This is bad for baseball. There's a pending lockout happening next year. I mean, this is looming around the corner, and then you have guys doing stuff like this. It stinks. And especially, you got Ronald Acuna Jr. back, who's healthy, who wants to play with players that he believes can contribute to this team as well. It's certainly frustrating. And so fans have every right to be very frustrated when it comes to Jurickson because it's a lot of money that you brought him over to contribute to your team. And it was exciting when he came back after his 80-game suspension. Now you're just not going to know what that looks like.
Procedurally, what comes next? And again, understanding, as you pointed out right off the top, we're still awaiting official comment from the league and from the club. But is there an appeals process? How does this all function out?
Good question. So the MLBPA has already challenged it. It's kind of procedural for the MLBPA to do things like this. So that's the Players Association, for those of you that don't know what that means. So that's really the next order of business in terms of where things stand with Jurickson. And then, of course, we're going to get statements from the Braves and Major League Baseball and what this all looks like. Because, again, 162 is massive. And we thought the 80-game suspension was massive. And I remember when we saw this coming across our phones and the alerts were going off, all we could say was, really? Again? Like, is this really happening again? It just feels kind of like a twilight zone for a team who's had their struggles, especially here before we've even played a single inning of regular season baseball. So I think that that's the most frustrating thing. The Braves have a new manager in Walt Weiss, obviously was a part of the club last year and for many years prior, but him being a manager for the first time has been dealt a pretty interesting hand trying to shuffle around these pieces and kind of put this thing into play here as we approach opening day later this month.
Maria, I want to ask you one last question here. From a fan's perspective, Braves fans are some of the best in the world, and it's not just right here in Atlanta. I mean, it is Braves country. It's a whole region that fervently roots on this team, and there have been some challenges, injury challenges. Now we have this, if these reports are true.
Sure.
How does the club come out the gate and still, excite the fan base? And because it's a symbiotic relationship.
Yeah. Play good baseball. That's it.
That's an easy answer.
Play good baseball, go out there and, produce a lot on opening day. No, but I think they're frustrated, obviously. The injuries you cannot prevent, okay? And the Braves are not going to be to blame for whatever happens with Jurickson Profar. But what you can do on the back end is try to get this club some help. And that's what I was talking about earlier. Alex Anthopoulos, making sure that he goes out and tries to get them a little bit of help because you felt really good about the depth of this ball club. And you have felt good about it the last couple of years. But then when you're losing pieces left and right, you're starting to look around saying, like, who's left? Like, what do we do in terms of a depth piece? Because remember, baseball season is incredibly long. And so if we're focused on this now and we're frustrated about how thin they look, injuries happen. And they're going to happen again for the Braves. And so you need the depth. It's so critical in baseball. We've seen it time and time again with this ball club, especially when it's to their detriment in the postseason. It's not looking good. So I think the fans, they want to be excited about something. Look to Ronald Acuna Jr. hitting home runs in spring training. That's a positive thing.
That'll get anybody excited. Our Maria Martin, ending on a good note. We always appreciate that on a serious day for the Braves. We know you're going to stay on top of this. Maria, thank you as always.
You bet.